The Trade Union Congress of Nigeria has thrown its weight behind the ongoing industrial action by aviation workers, insisting that no employer has the right to prevent workers from joining trade unions. Hi, welcome to What's Happening. These are our top 10 stories countdown today. At number 10, former Chinese Premier Rongji, whose market reforms helped drive the country's extraordinary economic rise, died from illness on Wednesday at the age of 97, state media reported. An obituary jointly issued by China's top political bodies and carried by Jinhao said he had passed away in Beijing late Wednesday morning after medical treatment failed to save him. Zhu became premier in 1998 and swiftly established a reputation as a hard-hitting free marketeer. Among his best-known reforms were a broad program to privatize unprofitable state-owned enterprises, the privatization of urban housing, and the promotion of home ownership. At number 9, Barcelona forward Ferran Torres has been given permission to miss training as he closes in on a move to Paris Saint-Germain. The 26-year-old was due to return to training with Barcelona on Wednesday, but will remain absent while negotiations over a potential transfer to PSG continue. As reported by BBC Sport on Wednesday, the deal is expected to be worth more than £40 million, with Torres having only 1 year remaining on his contract at the Catalan club. Torres played a key role in Spain's World Cup triumph this summer, scoring the extra-time winner against Argentina as his country claimed its second World Cup title. At number 8, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has charged bakers, manufacturers, and operators on production process rights labeling, urging them to examine their products to determine if it meets government standards. Tunji Bello, the Chief Executive Officer, FCCPC, gave this charge yesterday in Lagos at the Stakeholder Engagement Forum with bakery and confectionery operators organized by FCCPC's Southwest Zonal Office with the theme Building Consumer Trust Through Quality and Safety, a regulatory mandate for industry operators. At number 7, the Osun State Police Command has arrested 10 suspects in 2 separate operations linked to alleged violent crimes in Modakeke and an invasion of the Osun State Polytechnic Ire. 4 suspects were arrested in Modakeke, Ife East Local Government Area over alleged conspiracy, attempted murder, assault, occasioning harm, and unlawful possession of prohibited firearms. The command's police public relations officer, DSP Abiodun Ojelabi, disclosed these in a statement on Wednesday. Police searches of the suspects' residencies and premises reportedly led to the recovery of 2 firearms, a locally manufactured cut-to-size firearm, and a pump-action gun. According to the command, the locally made firearm was recovered from Basirat's shop, while the pump-action firearm was found at Oluwakemi's residence. At number 6, the federal government has said 300 National Youth Service Corps members will be attached to different compressed natural gas conversion centers across the country after being trained and certified as CNG technicians. The senior special assistant to the president on youth initiatives, monitoring and delivery, Dr. Titilope Gbadamusi, disclosed these at the opening ceremony of the CNG Return Freeton training program for corps members at the NYSC FCT orientation camp in Kubwa, Abuja. This was contained in a statement posted on NYSC Facebook page on Wednesday. According to Gbadamusi, the program will be delivered across the 6 geopolitical zones and is part of efforts to place Nigerian youth at the forefront of the country's transition to CNG. At number 5, the federal government has commenced the distribution of starter packs to 18,510 Nigerians trained under the first batch of the Renewed Hope Vocational and Skills Training Program, an initiative of the National Social Investment Program Agency aimed at equipping beneficiaries with the tools needed to start businesses and become self-reliant. The beneficiaries drawn from the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory underwent 2 weeks of intensive vocational training at more than 230 accredited centers across the country. At number 4, Amnesty International has called on the authorities to hold the senator representing Osun State in the National Assembly, Francis Fadahunsi, accountable for allegedly instructing his supporters to kill members of the Accord Party ahead of the state August 15th governorship election. The human rights group, in a post on its X handle, described the remarks of the All Progressives Congress lawmaker as deliberate and solely aimed at inciting a bloody poll in Osun State. The organization also said that Nigerian authorities have an obligation to prohibit advocacy of hatred that constitutes incitement to hostility, discrimination, discrimination or violence. At number 3, the Niger State chapter of the African Democratic Congress has unveiled former Commissioner Mamman Musa as its deputy governorship candidate for the 2027 general elections. The party's governorship candidate, Mohamed Pautagi, announced Musa's candidacy during a press briefing in Mina, describing him as a grassroots politician and a vibrant young man with the capacity and experience to deliver on the party's promises to people. Musa served as Commissioner for Youth and Sport, Water Resources, Works and Budget and Planning under the immediate past administration of former Governor Abubakar Bello. At number 2, the Ebonyi State House of Assembly has passed a landmark executive bill aimed at regulating the trade of metal and electrical scraps, standardizing residential rent and capping property agency fees across the state. Presided over by the Speaker, Moses Odunwa, during Tuesday's plenary at the Assembly complex on Nkaliki Road, the law, cited as the Ebonyi State Sales of Scraps, House Rent and Agent Fees Regulation Law 2026 came into effect immediately upon passage on August 11, 2026. The legislation establishes strict regulatory frameworks to curb public property vandalism, checkmate environmental degradation, and eliminate exploitative practices within Ebonyi's real estate markets. At number 1, the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria has thrown its weight behind the ongoing industrial action by aviation workers, insisting that no employer has the right to prevent workers from joining trade unions. TUC President Festus Osifo stated this on Tuesday during a briefing on the state of the nation in Abuja, declaring the Congress's full support for the aviation workers' action. Osifo warned that the TUC would resist any attempt by employers to victimize workers for exercising their rights to unionize. On security and the economy, the TUC called on the federal government to sustain its policies while urgently addressing insecurity to enable farmers return to their farms and ease food supply challenges. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.